I'm tired. I am sick and tired of fighting these bastards. I don't want to fight. I wasn't put on this planet to fight, but fight we must. Because otherwise they're going to bring in a digital ID, and once that's in, a digital currency, we will have total surveillance over everything that we do and we say. It's pretty bad now in the UK for those of you that are watching from another country. There are over 4,000 people in prison at this moment in time for social media posts.
Oh my God.
Not even their posts, post comments that people have made on their posts. This is the time to stand up. This is the hill that we must all die on. This is our freedom that we have to fight for our children and our grandchildren and all of those that come behind us.
This is a letter I've received today in the UK, and they are going to come into my house without my permission. From this letter, are you ready? This is to do with a TV license. You have to have a TV license in the UK. I don't agree with it. This is what they've said.
Immigrants don't make the laws in this country. British politicians do. The majority of politicians that have been in power for the last 50 years have been English. It's very rare for a prime minister or politician in the UK to come into power, actually do what they said they was going to do, and also put things into place that help the citizens of the country. That is rare, and that should be a standard.
Dear legal occupier, as you have not responded to our letters yet, of course I haven't, you have left us no alternative but to proceed with the final stages of our investigation. This is because I don't have a TV license. An officer has been scheduled to visit to find out if TV is being watched, recorded or downloaded without a TV license. Listen to this. We can apply to court for a search warrant to gain access to your property. It's my house, mate! What do you mean, access to my property? No!
This is going to happen here, I think, too. Although maybe people will fight it. If a traffic camera catches you jaywalking in China, the digital ID system has you. It has your blood now. It has your genetic code. It has your photograph. It can identify how you walk. So even if you can't see a face, you can be picked up by gait. It will convict you of jaywalking and take money out of your bank account with no intermediating judiciary at all, and show a picture of you to the people in the neighborhood so they know that you have jaywalked, and reduce your social credit score. And if your social credit score falls below a certain level, you can't buy drinks from a vending machine. You can't play video games. You can't go on a train. You can't get out of your 15-minute city. All that's already in place in China.
Your body cams will be transmitting that. The police will be on their best behavior because we're constantly watching and recording everything that's going on. Citizens will be on their best behavior because we're constantly recording and reporting everything that's going on.
Tell us a bit about because you're right at the forefront of this revolution, what it means for what government should do in terms of its digital infrastructure, digital ID, data centers, and so on.
How do you take advantage of these incredible AI models? And the first thing a country needs to do is to unify all of their data so it can be consumed and used by the AI model. You have to take all of your healthcare data, your diagnostic data, your electronic health records, your genomic data. We have to take all of this data we have in our country and move it into a single, if you will, unified data platform.
The special world government that the globalists have in mind for us is one where we are ruled by unaccountable, unelected elites. And they have a lot more in common across the world than they do with any of their native counterparts. And what they're seeking most especially is to create a surveillance state that is capable of complete control over the world's population.
Every senior member of our cabinet, and actually I think pretty much every senior Labour politician, certainly over the last 25 years, have been members of the Fabian Society. And for those who don't know, the Fabian Society is a secretive organisation who believe in communism through evolution, not revolution. Their logo is a wolf in sheep's clothing.
That says it all.
That says a lot.
Anti-immigration protest started in England around April of this year. And the government knew way ahead that there are too many immigrants. It's going to create a strain on the society. And many immigrants literally going to displace the native/white population of England. This will create a tension. However, I believe without a doubt, if you look at the Western powers, America, Canada, England, France, you've seen large amount of immigrants moving into those societies, which will create a conflict. But is the conflict coincidental, or is it by design? This is what George Hegel would call the thesis. Create the problem. As the tension grew between high crime rate and illegal migrants, the tension reached a boiling point. That is the reaction to the problem. In social science, in George Hegel's Dialectic, that's the antithesis. As the protest grew in momentum and the people reached a tipping point where they might overthrow the government, Keir Starmer issued in the solution digital ID to the mounting problem that the British population is facing. That is the synthesis. Meaning that the government created the problem, wait for the masses to react, and the same government implemented the solution, which is a digital ID, a surveillance system that literally takes away the civil liberties from the people that he's sworn to protect. That is the classic case of the German philosophers Hegelian dialectic, which I will discuss how it's applied so you can be informed, know how to stay vigilant, understand it, and learn how to navigate this tyrannical digital surveillance system.
The digital ID allows us to control where people go, when they can go there, how they get there, and why. So if they say things we don't like, we can stop them from using public transport. If they say things we don't like, we can stop them from flying. If they eat too much meat, which is bad for the environment, we can stop them from buying it.
In this video, I will highlight the Hegelian dialectic. George Hegel was a German philosopher who turned away from Christ, and he came up with the Hegelian dialectic. Government must create the problem, wait for the desired reaction from the population, and implement the solution. All I am asking of you, please share this video to as many people as you can so they can be properly informed and understand this digital prison that is coming down on all of us.
Georg Hegel was a German philosopher who came up with a basic system for achieving the goals of the Illuminati called the Hegelian dialectic. This system is based on 3 steps. In step 1, a rogue government will create the problem that harms or even kills its own citizens. This deception is known as a false flag attack. In step 2, a rogue government will control the reaction to the problem which it created by typically blaming it on an enemy or some aspect of its own society over which it seeks more control. This is why the term false flag attack is so named. In step 3, a rogue government will offer the solution to the problem which it created. This solution is typically a war or a system of regulations. The solution would usually not be accepted by the public had the rogue government not created the crisis and control the reaction to it in the first place.
We're developing, through technology, an ability for consumers to measure their own carbon footprint. What does that mean? That's where are they traveling? How are they traveling? What are they eating? What are they consuming on the platform? So, individual carbon footprint tracker. Stay tuned. We don't have it operational yet, but this is something that we're working on.
This is where technology, like digital ID, becomes critical. It's an obvious thing to move in the direction of digital ID because it's an enabler for people. You need the data, got to have a proper digital infrastructure.
If digital IDs are brought in, the UK, as we know it, is over.
It's about government control.
I'm here to say no to a surveillance state, no to digital IDs.
What the government are doing is creating more of a nanny state. They want all your private personal information.
It will control every facet of your life. I don't trust the government with my data. It just seems to be a recipe for disaster.
Actually, it's a government plan to track and log who we are, where we go, what we do.
No to digital IDs, whatever name they want to try and call it.
It won't be easy, but with enough of us involved, we can shape a freer, fairer future together.
This issue to do with the technology and the digital infrastructure, I just want to emphasize how important I think that is. Because in the end, you need the data. You need to know who's been vaccinated and who hasn't been. Some of the vaccines that will come on down the line will be multiple. There'll be multiple shots. So you've got to have, for reasons to do with the healthcare more generally, but certainly for a pandemic or for vaccines, you've got to have a proper digital infrastructure. And many countries don't have that. In fact, most countries don't have that.
You know, my country was the first where they made cash illegal. 2016, digitalization was forced in the country. 8 o'clock in the evening announced midnight, cash was illegal, the big notes. And 70% of the economy crashed. This digitalization is now going all over the world, and there's a war on cash. They call it war on cash. Because cash is merely a medium of exchange. It has no value in itself. It's just a promise. You read the dollar note, it says, I promise to pay the bearer. When it's digital, even a credit card, you know, you're giving rents to the global financial system. But when it's cryptocurrency in the hands of algorithms, in the hands of big tech, they will do what is happening in China. Create social credit system to decide a new caste system.
Oh my God.
And you might have also followed that while all this has been happening, the founder of the World Economic Forum did a book called The Great Reset on how to deal with the COVID crisis. And everything we're seeing unfold is part of that Great Reset. But an element of that Great Reset is you will own nothing. Now, I'm a believer in the commons. And it would be so good if all land was a commons, if all seed was a commons, if food was a commons, if health was a commons, so that we had strong public health systems, strong community health system, deep knowledge about being healthy. But when Paul Schwab says, you will own nothing, he's saying we'll own it all. That's why you have Gates, not just owning the seed, wanting to own our food. One, of course, controls the health, and now owning land. This, if ever there was a time for humanity to wake up, now is the time.
So now you're aware what the globalists want. This is not China where they can arbitrarily just implement it. They have to get the people's consent. And to do that, they must create a crisis, the problem, the thesis. And the thesis is flood the place with immigrants and crime and wait for the masses to react.
It's not racist to enjoy where you come from. My family were immigrants, my heritage is not from the United Kingdom, but I'm born here. It's not racist for me to enjoy the UK because it's given me a great future. To me, it's not a protest, more of a festival. People embracing the culture of the UK, come together to unite with each other. No matter your heritage, people showing love to one another.
This is what's happening, they're chasing it. They're chasing it.
They're actually chasing us. What are you doing? What are you doing? I was born in this country. I was born in this country. Then fucking love your country then. Smack her, smack her. What's wrong with you? Why are you coming against us?
Here's what we know about this attack at a synagogue in Manchester, where 2 people have been killed and the suspect shot by police. The attack happened on Yom Kippur, the holiest day in the Jewish calendar. Police responded at just after 9:30 on Thursday morning.
This was the moment a man had his phone stolen on one of the poshest roads. This man was walking along Park Lane, Mayfair, when a criminal rode past on an electric bike, grabbed the victim's phone and drove off.
And as the population get restless, then comes the reaction, the antithesis to the thesis.
If I am in this country and I cannot abide by the law of this country, I think I should be deported as well. Why do you come to a country, you know the rules, you know the regulations, especially when you come illegally, you know everything is on the book. If you cannot follow that, if you're not okay with UK being a Christian country, maybe go to a Muslim country then. Yeah. There are many, there are plenty. So
the left is the party of murder and celebrating murder. I mean, let that sink in for a minute. That's who we're dealing with here.
And now, for the solution or the synthesis. This is what the government wanted in the first place when they created the problem, but they're waiting for the masses to react. And then they implement the solution.
This government will make a new free of charge digital ID mandatory for the right to work by the end of this Parliament. Let me spell that out. You will not be able to work in the United Kingdom if you do not have digital ID. It's as simple as that.
Prime Minister says we must have digital ID. That's the way we'll stop illegal immigration. Well, think about it. Germany has ID cards, strict ID and checks. It's made no difference at all in Germany, and nor will it here. All that digital ID will be is a means of controlling the population, of telling us what we can and can't do, of fining the innocent. And didn't we see it all when we had the pandemic, when you had to have vaccine ID to travel, to do various things? Did that stop the COVID pandemic spreading? Did it hell? All it did was put cost and inconvenience on everybody else.
So there you have it. The Hegelian dialectic in full swing. The government created a problem with influx of immigrants all over the Western world. And the government also allowed petty crime to go unpunished. This created tension in the society where the people react, the antithesis. And to fix the problem the government created in the first place, the government comes up with the synthesis, the solution. The solution is what the government wanted in the first place, but this is not China. They need the people consent. But in reality, it's the globalists who want this kind of transformation to create a digital surveillance system. So it's the problem, reaction, solution, the perfect way to take away the civil liberties of the population. And when you give it up, you will never ever get it back.
This is not just another ID you'll have on your phone. This is the next step towards a Chinese-style social credit system where your freedom will depend entirely on your compliance. A world where every choice you make is tracked and centralized onto a singular data system. What you buy, what you eat, where you go, what you view and post online. This is not the future of safety. This is the future of global control. This is mass enslavement, but all it takes is for us to say no. Mass non-compliance, and it won't happen.
In Canada, they've asked Mark Carney, will Canada accept a new digital ID? And hear how he sputters like a gasoline engine that got filled up with diesel fuel you know this guy is lying, because he was a governor of the bank in England and he's also a British citizen who became the Prime Minister of Canada because Canadians got duped by Justin Trudeau, who played possum and didn't resign when he should resign, and they ushered in Mark Carney to the masses, and the masses swallowed it hook, line and sinker.
Keir Starmer's introduced a digital ID card, wants to make it mandatory as a way of controlling immigration. Is that something Canada might consider?
Well, Paul, one thing I would put in terms of context is the UK is relatively unique in not having other forms of identification. So there's been a long history here not to have ID. In Canadians, we have various forms of ID. We have driver's license. You have social insurance license. Like you have forms of identification.
The Canadian government already promoting digital ID on its government website, and yet he said he doesn't have plans to implement this at this moment, but secretly he's putting all the parameters in place to get to that digital surveillance system.
Sometimes applying for government benefits can be a lengthy and complicated process. The Government of Canada's vision is to enable Canadians to use trusted digital identities for quick and easy access to online services. Emily's having a baby soon and is applying for benefits. Today, she has to complete an online application form, then wait 5 to 10 days for an access code. When it arrives in the mail, she will use it to create an account and set up direct deposit. What if she could do all this at once, from any device? She'd confirm who she is using her provincial or territorial trusted digital ID, consent to using personal information from her digital ID, and may choose to receive notifications. Once approved, she'd decide how to get paid. That's it. The government's goal is to enable simple, fast, and convenient access to services anytime, anywhere, on any device. We're working with government and the private sector to build the foundation and standards for digital identity across Canada and internationally. The future is closer than you think.
Why am I against digital ID? I believe if you educate and discipline the population, you don't need to surveil them. I also believe God created free-thinking beings to live like free men and women and not slaves. Digital ID is to control you and create a digital surveillance system / a prison, and having a few becoming gods over all of us. I do not support that. It was the philosopher Van Gogh who says, "Those who think they are free are the ones who are totally enslaved." George Orwell wrote his book 1984 in 1947. And I'm going to read this quote from his book. On page 67, listen to what George Orwell said. "The capitalists owned everything in the world, and everyone else was their slave. They own all the land, all the houses, and all the factories, and all the money. If anyone disobeyed them, they could throw them into prison, and they could take his job away and starve him or her to death." When any ordinary person spoke to the capitalist, he had to cringe and bow to him and take off his cap and address him as sir or madam. A centralized digital system that eventually will usher in the Antichrist. Because as long as it's centralized, you can monitor anything from anywhere in the world because you have the data, and the data never disappears. This was prophesied over 2,000 years ago in Revelation 13, verses 14 to 18. Please listen. And the beast deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast which had wound by a sword and did live. Mean that I believe the Antichrist will be wounded. 15. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. So if you don't worship the beast, they're gonna delete you. Listen carefully now. And he caused all the Antichrist, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in the right hand. Your fingerprint is biometric. Everyone has their own unique fingerprint. Or in the forehead. Everyone on this planet has their own unique retinal scan. No one can copy it. So it's either your fingerprint or your retinal scan, because what it says here, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark or the name of the beast, that's number 2, or the number of his name. So your fingerprint, your retinal scan, or the name of the beast. Some people will assume the name. But here's the last part. Here is wisdom. Let him that had understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. 666. That is the prophecy that was written over 2,000 years ago. This cannot be a coincidence. Now, having said that, Britain colonized almost 40% of the world. Britain still controls almost the entire planet covertly through fraternities and sororities. If the digital ID becomes mandatory in England, it will propel almost every other country, similar to China, to implement it. This is why I am saying no to digital ID. But take note that this system, this globalist system, will do whatever it has to do to implement this draconian system. So if they have to delete a whole lot of us, they will do it because we are expendable to them. So while everyone was glued into the protest and the digital ID, look at how we got distracted. So the focus in the midst of the fervor shifted, and now we're looking over there. As Marshall McLuhan says, the media is the message. I hope this video has been educational, inspiring, and informative. I hope you will share it, but also take note, because your soul is in your hand. I can't tell you what to do. I am just a vessel who is giving you the information. But most importantly, in Matthew 6:33, it says, "Seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all, not some, all these things shall be added unto you." Make Jesus Christ, Yeshua HaMashiach, your Lord and Savior. Because what's coming down on us will require your soul to be a part of. And if you lose it all, never lose your soul. May Almighty God enlighten you. And now, order your steps. Shalom.